All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Half-Ass Podcast. It's me, of course. But today we have a very special guest. Um, I've been teasing this for a while that we were going to have someone on here to somewhat, be, somewhat of a voice for, the sex worker industry. And I have none other than Chris Rose from OnlyFans. Isn't your only outlet, is it?
No,
Is
it's
it?
not.
Let us know your platform. You have OnlyFans and what else?
I also have a couple of videos on Pornhub. They're pretty protected and pretty pricey. So that's how I kind of channel more people to my OnlyFans. So I get that monthly subscriber. Mm. And then when you do subscribe to my OnlyFans, you get discounts on all the videos that are on Pornhub. So it's kind of a trade-off. If you don't want to pay the monthly fee, you can buy the videos directly to download, or you can pay the monthly fee and get them for a whole lot cheaper, and then also be able to request custom content, videos that you like direct yourself.
Okay. Well, first of all, how's it going? How's everything going right now?
It's been a really wild ride. The last 2 months, I'll say have not been easy, but they've been a blast, and I've learned a lot about this industry and myself and the people in my life. So I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. I mean, you can't get any better than that. So we're going to jump right into the shit. All right. So I want to ask you first off, what made you want to become a content creator or a sex worker or whatever you want to call it for OnlyFans in general?
So this wasn't what I was originally supposed to do. I went to college and got my bachelor's degree in geology. So I was supposed to be a scientist.
Really?
And,
okay.
Yeah, I went to graduate school and everything. So what got me into OnlyFans, and it's kind of a long, complicated story, but to keep it short and simple, I was feeling pretty miserable about my career and where my college degree had gotten me, and I was sitting on top of all of this debt that I could not control. There was no end in sight, and so I was working my ass off at a Planet Fitness, and then I got in really good shape and everything, and I ended up losing 70 pounds over the last year and a half.
Holy shit.
So that was another reason why I was like, I'm here. I look like this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it was a combination of like the drastic weight loss, which, I mean, I'm not like, I was just unhappy with myself. I'm not encouraging anybody else to do anything like that. And I promise I was, eating right and lifting, doing it correctly. But I, got in shape. I was an athlete in high school, got college, ruined that. And I got back in shape, and I was feeling really good about myself. And I had just gone through a really bad breakup, and my family was sort of like kind of crunching in on me. And then I had all this added pressure for myself and my success, my post-college success. And it was all really overwhelming. And so this started out as sort of like a creative outlet for me, and also a way to help myself get out of debt faster. So I started off by just finding people online who I could sell nudes to and sext for money, just a way to make a quick buck. I'm good at it. Like,
what makes you like go through, like, what makes that, like, I'm sure it wasn't easy, like, to come up with that solution, but like, what makes you like, what kind of led you to do that, where you're like, I'll just, like, you're like, I'll sell my nude to someone and maybe someone will buy them. Like, what was that first experience like?
It was probably my fitness posts on Instagram. So the more confident I got with my body and myself, the more I was showing on Instagram. And then the more, let's put it this way, it was about attention. I got a lot of attention from those posts. It was a positive feedback loop for that confidence. And I just, felt myself digging myself out of this hole that I had been in for so long, under all the financial pressure and societal pressure and family pressure and pressure I put on myself. It was that first taste of like, kind of like success and like internet fame was really, it got me out of a dark place. And so I kind of held on to that and focused on that and grew my fitness page first.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I transitioned.
Okay. So once you were doing it for, you know, a hot minute, and you're starting to get, you know, money from it, and you're starting to, you know, send nudes, or where, if you care to share, what, it wasn't OnlyFans that you were starting to send nudes through. Was it just through like DMs you were selling your nudes through, or you were handing out your phone number or Snap, or what was it?
This is actually a really interesting story too, and I don't want to out this person, but I sort of had this secret admirer that kind of segued me into it, sort of. So it was this guy that I went to school with, and I didn't find this out until later. He made this like Stan Twitter account and was like, hey, would you be willing to like send me a nude? I'll give you like this much money. And I was like, it was something along the lines of like $20 for a picture. And I was like, $20 for a picture? I've got 50 in my phone. Like, send it over.
I'm weak. Oh my God.
So he ended up revealing himself to me after I started. He was the one that was like, you should make an OnlyFans. You can put this content on OnlyFans. You would make so much money. And a couple weeks into it, I hit him up and I was like, can I ask you a question? I was like, who are you? Because you obviously know me personally and you obviously care about me a lot. And like, this is just a really strange thing to do for somebody. And he hit me back and he was like, this is who I am. And I knew exactly who he was. He was like, I've, you know, sort of about like, I've always thought you were a really cool person, really down to earth, like sort of a free spirit. And he was like, I've always found you attractive, even when you were heavier, which was really important to me, really, really important to me. So I was like, well, why are you doing this? And he was like, well, I just saw what you went through college. I did have a really hard time in college. And then for a couple of years after that with like relationships and stuff like that. And he was like, I saw what you went through and I saw the way you were treated and I saw how much you did for other people. And he was like, I just, you know, grew the balls one day to like anonymously hit me up.
Yeah, I was about to say, because that's not really growing balls if you're not really revealing who you are, you know.
It was a step in the right direction, but yeah. But yeah, he was like, I finally just like, you know, wanted to see like if you were into that kind of thing, and I want to, you know, he was like, I'm obviously into that kind of thing. Like I've already been doing this online for a while, and he was like, I kind of just wanted to see if you would do it. And he's still one of my he's one of my best subscribers. We still talk every day. And it's actually turned into a really beautiful friendship that, we weren't even friends in college. So, I mean, I appreciate the crap out of everything he's done for me and how he supported me and like gave me the startup money and gave me helped me create the startup content to get this going.
Kind of weird, but
it's wild.
But there are weirder stories out there. So, you know what I mean? But what exactly went through your mind once he was saying like, okay, I knew you through college and I, you know, pretty much not saying he was stalking you. I mean, I guess not. I don't really, maybe stalking you, but like what
the
really
video just caught up. You lagged.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. What really went through your mind after, like when he told you that, okay, you know, I knew you in college, and at this time you didn't know who it was. Like what was going through your mind? Like, were you thinking like, is he a stalker? Is he somebody that knew me before college or after college? You were just kind of curious?
I think if you keep it on the internet, the internet is fair game. It is fair game. I mean, I don't have any problem with somebody who wants to admire from a distance and somebody who's okay with that. If they're okay with that, if they're okay with looking and not touching, then that's by all means okay with me. It's okay with my partner. It helps me out, and like it does. I do kind of struggle with like confidence and self-esteem sometimes. And these guys are like, some of them are disgusting, but most of them are so nice, like so nice. And like, they need me as much as I need them. There's all these other girls out there that are looking for the same thing that I was looking for. And they're, getting their confidence built up by these men, and these men are getting like the satisfaction that they need. And I want to go into this a little bit later, but I think that really helps us like open up our communication and open up our minds into what's going to give us a more satisfactory life and end up making us happier, and generally just better people.
So you start up the OnlyFans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And So he helped you start up the OnlyFans? This, their secret admirer guy?
I didn't even know about OnlyFans. He was like, wow, you make actually really good custom content. Like he was making requests and I was, doing them for him. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was just paying my bills. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, you're actually like really impressing me.
Yeah.
He was like, your content's better than like some of these girls that have been doing this for a really long time. And I was like, I don't even, okay, sure. Mm-hmm. And, he was like, you should really start an OnlyFans. It's this website. It'll run everything for you. It's secure. It'll take the taxes out for you and send you a 1099 at the end of the year. And I was like, no way. Like, no way. Like, This is a real job and there's a platform already set up. You just have to sign up. I was like, I'm in.
So with OnlyFans, how big is your reach now in OnlyFans? Like, how big is your community or your audience?
So actually, I can pull up the numbers really quick because they're pretty interesting. And OnlyFans, the website will actually give you all of these statistics. So a lot of these girls, like, we're not out here just kind of like hoping for the best. Like, we know what we're doing, and we're looking at our stats, and we're keeping track and taking notes and organizing and prioritizing and streamlining processes and stuff like that constantly. And the site itself is always changing and everything too. So let me get those stats for you. It's something I didn't look today. That was my bad. But
you're good.
My most active subscribers at one time. So the highest number of fans that I've had at one time is 150. Mm-hmm. And I have been doing this for 5 weeks.
Really?
5 weeks.
OnlyFans has only been 5 weeks?
Yes, my page is 5 weeks old. I started it on April 18th. That's the day I got approved.
Holy shit. So you're at 150. You're probably charging, what, $2.99 or something like that?
$12.99.
Oh, holy
per month.
Shit. Okay.
Plus custom content is, it used to be, I'm going through a move right now, so I'm doing a discount while I can't really like sit down and work as much as I want to. Mm-hmm. But right when I first started, when I was pretty much working 24/7, my page started out at $9.99 a month, and then I had made over $1,500 in my first week. And so I was like, I don't want to sell myself short.
Yeah.
If this is really the quality that I'm putting out, and I still don't know what I'm doing at this point. If this is really the quality that I'm putting out, I'm going to charge for it, because I'm not going to do this for free. This is a job.
Yeah.
And so I bumped up my subscription price to $12.99, and sure enough, people were still subscribing and still buying custom content. So my pictures are $1 a picture right now. My custom videos are $2 a minute for safe for work videos, and then $3 a minute for not safe for work videos. So wow. You can get custom content no matter what your budget is. If your budget is $3, then you get a 60-second video clip, and everybody's happy. Like, if your budget's $20,
yeah. So I imagine
get a good video.
I imagine after these 5 weeks, you, or at least somewhere within these 5 weeks of being on OnlyFans, you don't have that job anymore that you were working at before, right? I'm assuming.
No.
After I heard 15 a week, I was like, holy shit.
It's not that. It's not that every week. It's not every week. Another thing is, I use my hometown clout. So you know how it is growing up in this area, because we're from the same area. Like, word travels fast, and everybody knows everybody, and it feels like such a small world. And so when I first started doing this, I was like, these people have known me for a long time. I grew up here. I don't have anything to hide. They know I'm wild. Like, I don't have anything to lose. I'm not I'm not ashamed of this either. So I was like, you know what? Let's just roll with the theme of this whole thing, which is, let the men be mad about it while they're still paying for it.
So I have a question for you too.
Yeah.
So growing up, you didn't because it took me 18 years to realize that women watch porn too. So growing up, did you like watch porn as well? Like were you like well versed into the adult entertainment industry?
I had a very traumatic first sexual experience.
Okay.
I ended up actually losing my virginity when I was 12 years old.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like it happened that way because I was uneducated. And I didn't know how to say no. And I didn't know that I had a choice. Mm-hmm. Because it was my boyfriend, it was my boyfriend. We had been together for a minute, and it was young puppy love or whatever. And he was a year older than me, and he was ready. And he was 13, a teenage boy. He wants to get it in. And I'm sitting here still 12 years old, like, I guess that's what you do when you have a boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And so I went with it, and then afterwards just wasn't okay with myself, and I ended up becoming abstinent for 6 years after that. So I was abstinent all through high school and then my first year of college. And there came a point where once I had regained my sexuality, there came a point where I was like, I need to change the associations that I have with sexual pleasure, because I was noticing that whenever I was unhappy, I was hooking up with more people. And I was like, it's filling a void. Like, I was just like, I need to change my mindset on this, because somebody ruined sex for me, and I've let it happen. I've let it be like that. I've let it control that part of my life. And so regaining my sexuality and regaining, that feeling like I had control over my body again, and embracing that women are sexual beings has become really important to me, because I was ashamed of that part of myself for so long.
So, and by sexual, because I think I know what you mean, but just for the audience, for the people that is going to be watching this, what do you mean by women being sexual beings?
We want to fuck. I mean, that's the bottom line. we want to fuck. Like, I mean, men are like, every time a chick walks by, they're all checking out the ass, and I'm like, yeah, so were we. So were we. We just don't feel the need to say anything about it, because, like, it is. I mean, it's biology, man. I mean, that's how you procreate. Every animal, plant, whatever, has a way of procreating. So you got the natural instinct. Like, women are just as much wild animals as men are. We're gonna have those same instincts. Gonna have those same reactions and stuff like that. I think the women who don't embrace those sides of themselves have kind of talked themselves out of it at some point.
I think that there's I think there's miscommunications on both sides when it comes to that. Now, again, I'm not a woman, so I can't really say like there is or isn't, but just from my perception of it is, I think that there are women that embrace it. There are women that they don't embrace it, at least not out in the open, if you know what I mean. And then there are some women that completely are like on the other side, where they just don't embrace it at all. They're like, it shouldn't be embraced at all or anything like that, and they're just in their own world. But again, I'm not a woman, so I can't speak. That's why I have you on here, so you could, to have your perception on it and your outlet, because you are a woman, you are a part of the industry, and you are successful at it. So, that as well. I did want to ask you about, because you touched on, growing up in the area that we grew up in and everything, like growing up, because a couple of weeks ago I saw a picture on your Twitter profile where you mentioned that someone close to you, like you put up like the actual text, which again, I was somewhat shocked at, but then I was like, it's Twitter, so I'm not really that shocked that, that people, that you guys are like, posting up the text. But you posted up the picture of a screenshot of the text of someone pretty much, pretty much saying like, hey, what you were saying before we started recording, like, hey, do you need help? Are you okay? Blah, 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 because they found out that you were a part of the industry. What was life like for you growing up, like I don't want to get, too much into detail or anything like that, but like, did you come from a family like that didn't have much? Did you come from a family that did have much? What were their outlook on not necessarily like modesty, but what was their outlook on basically what you do now? Did they let you have boyfriends? Did they let you have freedom, as a kid? Because, me, I'll say from the jump, man, like my mom didn't let me do shit as a kid. So I had to like sneak around and do everything I did, that kids weren't supposed to do as a kid or teenagers weren't supposed to do. I had to sneak around and do. Like my parents didn't really give me that much freedom. So what was life like you for, growing up?
So it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. And that's sort of a continuing theme with me. So I grew up really, really blessed, and until I turned 13. And then in my 13th year, a lot of stuff in my life happened. A lot of things changed really quickly. I ended up pretty much losing everything I knew and everything I had, and had to sort of adjust. I went from being really rich to being really poor really quick. Okay. I'm one of 9 siblings. Actually, wow. I'm one of 7 that I actually know, possibly 9. So
that's a lot.
The whole, I'm by no means an only child. I by no means was raised with all the attention on me or anything like that. So that, that could always be part of it, but
likewise,
it's just, I have such a blended family that I don't really have a straight answer for you for how I was raised. I can tell you that I turned out a lot differently than any of my siblings, though. I don't know if it was just because I was at that ripe age of 13 where, you're already pretty wild and uncontrollable. And I was going through a lot of stuff, so I don't really have an answer for that. But I can tell you, hold on. Go sit down. Okay. Sorry. I lost my train of thought there. What was your question?
What life was like growing up?
Oh, terrible. Really terrible. I hated it. No, I'm just joking. Okay. So to go back to that text message, what you're really asking about, that text message.
Yeah.
That one of them, I don't know which one you're referring to. One of them came directly from my own mother, and one of them came from one of my estranged siblings. So I'm pretty sure you're referring to the one that came from one of my estranged siblings.
Maybe the mother. I don't remember. I think I saw 2 of them, but I think I saw the first one. Because I'm not on Twitter that much, but I think I saw the first one maybe. That would
have been my sibling. Oh, so that was one of my half siblings that hadn't talked to me in upwards of 4 or 5 years, basically since I went to college. And I mean, she has her family and stuff, so I get it, but I've been back. I had been back in town for a while at this point. She could have reached out before then. I chose not to reach out because I feel like I tend to always be the one who reaches out first.
That's why I don't reach out, because like it's same here. You're reaching through the choir.
Yeah, and I was also going through a lot. Like I ended up back in my hometown. I was real depressed about where I was in life, like I said before, and like I didn't want to explain it to anybody. I didn't want anybody's pity.
I
just wanted to do whatever I wanted.
Yep.
And so she decides after seeing my Instagram, because like I said, I used all my socials that I've had for the last 10 plus years. I just started posting different stuff on it. And I was just like, we'll see what happens. If they don't like it, they can unfollow.
Yeah.
They didn't see it that way.
No, so, obviously not.
It's really confusing to me how people seem to forget that there are, the unfollow, unfriend, and block features on social media pages. So I don't take responsibility for anybody's choice to follow me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's not my problem.
Yeah.
She decided that she had a major problem with it, and asked me if I was doing this out of desperacy, if I needed help, if I needed money. I didn't need anything. Thanks to good old COVID-19, I was racking up my unemployment and bored out of my mind. So no, I didn't need money. I didn't need help. I just wanted something to do, and I wanted to pay off my debt faster so that at the end of this whole pandemic, I was in a better position than where I started.
Yeah.
Made sense to me. And then, there was also this, I'll also touch a little bit on this. There was also a lot of pressure from my mom to make more money, get out of debt, get out of her house, all these things. And that ended up backfiring on me. I thought, my mom's pretty open-minded and supportive, and I'm a really open, honest person. I can't lie. I laugh straight through the lie. I can't. I have to be open and honest. That's just the way I am. So I didn't tell her exactly what I was doing, but I didn't hide it from her either. My mom ended up finding out, and I was ready to come to her with the, no, you don't understand. Like, I'm happy. I'm safe. I'm making a lot of money.
Wait, but how did she find out, by the way?
I don't know. I still don't know.
It wasn't one of those, like, those hacker guys that was going around, like, I don't know if you've seen that, where the hacker guy was, like, going around and, like, I guess he, like, knew people's, like, families or some shit, where he was, like, going around and sending them to like,
dads.
to women's dads and stuff. I was like, oh, man, this guy just opened up a whole can of worms I don't think he's going to be able to come back from, man.
Yeah, so I wasn't really too worried about that guy, because first of all, I don't have a dad, and second of all, you can make whatever jokes you want about that, but second of all, I didn't hide it. I didn't hide my work from anybody, so there's nothing anybody could blackmail me with, and that was part of the reason why I made that, why I started my OnlyFans in that way, was so that nobody could ever use it against me. I mean, I said, I'm here, I'm doing this. You can unfollow me if you want to, but, like, I'm not going to keep you away. Like, up to you. If somebody, sends my Instagram to my mom, what's she going to say? Seen it? Mm-hmm. Like, okay. But actually that ended up, so this is really, really fascinating in my life right now. After my mom found out what I was doing, she ended up putting I'm 25 years old. She ended up putting an adult content filter on my phone, so I couldn't access OnlyFans, Pornhub, none of that. And she thought she was keeping me away from discouraging me from doing my work. And the thing I was most pissed about was, Mom, I'm a human. You took away Pornhub?
Yeah.
Did you block my brothers from Pornhub? Like, it was just really misogynistic. It was like, I was like, are you serious, dude? Like, you had 4 kids. You know how this works.
I'm weak.
I don't know. Like, why do we pretend like we don't? I don't know why women pretend like they don't fuck. I mean, women fuck.
So she got access to your phone.
She was paying for my phone plan. So she put adult content filters on my phone. And then she changed the Wi-Fi. This is my favorite part. She changed the Wi-Fi network, like, name and password, so that it would kick me off of the Wi-Fi on all of my devices and I couldn't get back on. And the network name was What Would Jesus Do? We don't go to church. It was just spiteful.
Oh my gosh.
It was just spiteful. And that's coming from my own family. And let me tell you, like, I'm okay right now because, like, I actually started family counseling over this to, like, kind of prove to them, like, hey, look, I'm not crazy. I'm in counseling. Y'all are taking this way too far. So I don't know. This whole experience has just opened my eyes to, like, the way that things really are in the world and how much still needs to change. It's wild. People think I'm, like, in all sorts of danger, and they think I'm, like, having sex with all these people on camera, and I'm like, I live with my boyfriend. We watch movies. With
everything that and we're gonna get to the boyfriend part too, because that's an important part as well. But to go back to the family part, so with everything going on now, and with pretty much everyone knowing, I know you've had your fair share of people, not just family members, but people that knew you or still know you, and that you still, or at least were close to you, that kind of, gave you, like, negative opinions about it and their negative outviews about it. But have you had anybody close to you that actually supported you?
Yes.
Besides your boyfriend.
Most of them. Most of my friends from college, a lot of my friends from high school. I've even had friends from elementary school and preschool. I have had 99% more supporters than I have haters that know me personally and know what I've been through and know where I want to go. The only thing I have trouble, the only people who have trouble accepting this is my family. And I don't think it has anything to do with, you know, what I'm actually doing. I really think it's just because I chose not to be a scientist. And I was raised, you know, women have to go to college. We have to prove ourselves to be smart. We're not just pretty. Like, that was something my mom hammered into my head, like, cause she gave me good genes. She's got good genes. Like, she was like, Kristen, like, you can't go through life just being pretty. You have to prove yourself. And so I did that. I was in, you know, talented and gifted programs in elementary school. And then that went on to like, AP classes in high school, and then going to a nice 4-year college, and then doing graduate school after college. Like, I put myself through all that, and looking back, I don't know why I didn't want to do that. Not at all. And now I'm sitting on all this student loan debt for no reason for a degree I didn't even want. And I'm like, at this point, I don't have anything to prove.
Was college
I'm gonna be pretty. No.
It wasn't?
No, I wish I would have gotten a trade skill.
You know, it's funny. Everybody I've talked to, not every single person, but mostly 90% of people that I've talked to that went to college. I went to college for 2 years. I just got my associates. But after that, I was like, I'm done. Because I went when I was 20. I started college when I was 25. And that was when I moved back to Virginia. And then I went for like a year there. Then I moved down to Orlando here. And I went for another year and got my associate. And I was like, dude, I'm so done with college. But most of the people I talked to that actually like went to like a 4-year college and like they went and got their actual like bachelor's degree, most of them say like, dude, it wasn't worth it. Like, besides like some of them, they had fun, some of them didn't have fun, but either or, they all pretty much say like, I wish I just would have went to like a trade school. Or I wish I would have just like had on the job training somewhere or something like that, because now you're stuck with debt, or, you know, now it's like, oh, I wasted 4 years. Hell, I wasted like 9 years. So, but right. Yeah, like
6 over here.
Yeah, like it's nuts. It's nuts how like this generation is we're really hammering it home in terms of not living the traditional life. You know, like not being not having to just, you know, grow up, go to college, have a family, and then die. Like that's just,
exactly.
That sounds boring. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I do commend you on that, though. I mean, even though like you went to college, you finished, got your degree, and you're still like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna go do what I want to do. And again, like, I appreciate that. That's we need more people like that. And honestly, I think that we do have more people like that. I just don't think there's more people that are as open to letting people know, like, hey, college isn't really all that it's cracked up to be. And it's not as important as people make it seem in terms of finding a career or doing what you want to do.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. A lot of OnlyFans streamers have college degrees. A lot of them are just like me. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we are not under-intelligent. We are not, like, we are running our own business here. Like, it takes brains. Like, all these girls that you're seeing, you know, like, doing all these things online, like, a lot of men will be like, go to college, go to school, get a job or whatever. It's like, we did that. We're going to do this now. So, it doesn't matter what you say.
So I want to get to the boyfriend part. So
okay,
you have a boyfriend. Now, I'm pretty sure you already know what I'm going to ask. You have a boyfriend and you have an OnlyFans. How does your boyfriend feel about you having OnlyFans? Or actually, as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I know how he feels now. But when you first told him about OnlyFans, how did he react?
He was not happy. But he knew that I needed something more, and he knew that anybody who knows me just knows that I cannot be contained. I can't. like the more restrictions and rules that are put on me, the more I fight them. And so he knew that once I had that idea in my head, it wasn't going anywhere and I was going to follow through with it. And he knows that when I follow through, I follow through. So he knew there was no way to stop me. And so he just kept his mouth shut at first. And I'm not a bitch or anything. Like, I was making sure he was okay, like checking in with him, letting him know I wasn't working around him or anything like that. And so I kept those two parts of my life separate at first. But then once he saw how much happier I was and how in control of it I was and how smart I was about it, he was on board. He was on board. Like he said now looking back, he says his only concern was that I put myself through all of this and put all of this out there and don't get anything in return. So that was his only fear. And that has been our one and only rule this entire time is no free content. Because, that's at that point borderline cheating. So
with that, like, because now I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit, okay? Mm-hmm. So let's say the roles were reversed. Now, be honest here, which you already said you're not a good liar, so I'm pretty sure you're already going to be honest anyways. So, roles were reversed. Your boyfriend's like, hey, I want to do an OnlyFans. Or I want to post, paid private content on Pornhub of me whacking off, masturbating, whatever, right? Now, he comes to you and tells you this, and you don't know whether it'll make him happy. Like, you just don't know whether in the end, is this gonna be worth it in the end or not? What's your first reaction? What's going through your mind? And what are you going to tell him?
Baby. Get it, baby. Get it, baby. That's it. That's it. I have been trying to make him join OnlyFans for the longest.
What?
I don't know. Like, I'm not kidding. Deadly attracted and deadly in love with this man. Like, there's nothing that could ever like tear me away from him or stop me from like, I don't know. I wake up next to him in the morning. I'm like, God damn, baby. Like,
but he's got to want it though. You never want to like push anybody to do anything.
He's not into that. So okay. I don't push him, and that's why he's not in my content either. It's not because I don't let him. That's his choice. It's his body. It's his his internet persona, whatever he works. So I'm not gonna put him out on the internet if he doesn't want to be. That's not me. That's this whole thing is to educate people about what I do. So which would be financial domination, custom content, and then like fantasy creation. Mm-hmm. So I'm a sexual actress. It's really not what you think it is, and it's not what everybody thinks OnlyFans is. Like, especially what I focus on my page is like there is no request you can give me besides like something that's like illegal, or I do some illegal stuff. I smoke weed, but
nowadays that's not really illegal though. I mean, if you
it's not really illegal, but like as long as it's not like against my moral code, and if it's going to make you happy and keep you satisfied and keep you from trying to get this in an unhealthy or unsafe way, then I'm down. So I have done things like put my phone on the floor, like angle my phone up, and then stand over it and pretend to be a giant. That was one of my favorite videos.
Really?
Really. And I did like theater and musical show choir and stuff in high school. So like I can act, mm-hmm. and I had never I was so focused on science for such a long time that all of these different elements of creativity and these different things that I can do and try and work on and learn about, it's just, I'm so occupied and like just satisfied with my life and everything I'm learning about and everything I'm exposed to. And I just get so excited about it, and I'll like learn about something new, like really fucked up thing, and I'll go to him and I'll be like, babe, I learned about like, I gotta think of something. I don't remember. I learned about lot lizards today. And he's like,
Oh my gosh. Like,
I don't know. There's no, I mean, you can't tell me no when I'm this excited about what I'm doing. You can't. Because
here's the thing, I've never looked at the OnlyFans site or anything like that. I mean, I looked at like the information and stuff like that, but I've never actually like been on the actual app or anything like that.
You have to be committed to sign up. When you sign up, even as a subscriber, you're uploading your driver's license, making sure that you're a person. Like, they verify your identity, and you can remain anonymous online, but like to sign up, like you have to verify. So there's, all these checks and balances. There's all these DMCA takedown services and different things that you can use to keep your content protected and keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
And it's all insured, and it's all through the OnlyFans site, and it's all set up for you. So it's just a really cool job to have.
because like I was saying, like I've never been on the site, so like everything I've heard from people, like again, you have that 50-50 audience when it comes to sex workers in general. So it's like in terms of you got this crowd over here saying, wow, this is great content. This is great for people that just want to work from home and, honestly do what they want to do. And then you have the other crowd over here saying, oh, they need to get a real job. They need to do this, they need to do that. But then again, they will say that about anybody that's not working 9 to 5. Like, honestly, because I work not right now. I work like 9 to 9, but I work 9 to 5. But, I moved down here so that I wouldn't have to do that, so that I can go follow my actual dream and do what I've always wanted to do. So I understand where people don't want to do the norm. They don't want to do the whole 9 to 5 thing. You can work from home and do whatever the fuck you want and still make a good living from it. It's telling, seeing you so excited talking about what you're doing on OnlyFans. Just seeing, as soon as you start talking about it, you start like your eyes light up, you start smiling, you start talking about it, you get really excited. You telling me, you go and you tell your boyfriend about how your content and new stuff that you're learning and stuff like that. Like, it's cool to see that. It doesn't matter whether you have 20,000 fans or whether you got 20 fans or 200 fans. If it makes you happy and you can make a living, they say if you're good at something, never do it for free. I mean, honestly.
Exactly.
It's great to see stuff like that, because even me, I'm not one to judge, but even me, when I first heard of OnlyFans, I was like, that's kind of weird. But like the more you do research, like the more I researched about it and the more I looked into it and the more people I've talked to that are actually in the industry and they support places like OnlyFans. I think another one that's older than that was like ManyVids and stuff like that. And now Pornhub is like the end all be all in terms of adult entertainment. Period. Like you start learning more and more, and you're like, they're just doing what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like it's another avenue for people to do what they want to do and for people to make a living. So
let's put it this way: it's exactly the same. So I also crochet. It is exactly the same as if I were to make a crochet project and then ship it to somebody else. Mm-hmm. But I don't fucking like crocheting that much.
Actually, you know what? Speaking of crocheting, it kind of has nothing to do with crocheting. But how do you feel about women that create OnlyFans accounts? Because I've heard about this. They create OnlyFans accounts, and they're kind of misleading of the content that they put on there, and they don't exactly post nudes on OnlyFans. They're pretty much reposting their Instagram pictures and their Facebook pictures and stuff like that on OnlyFans. Is there a big community for that or no? Or
buyers beware. I'm just saying, if you don't know what you're buying, I mean, it can be hard. It can be hard to sort out your Instagram content from your Twitter content, from your OnlyFans VIP page, from your OnlyFans free page, from your Reddit page. I mean, there's a different audience on each platform. Mm-hmm. And it can, and especially when I first started doing this, it was hard when, like, you know, you're in your first week, you only have 7 days worth of content. You already posted all the pictures that you have and you don't know what to do, but you need to market something because you've lost 3 subscribers that day. And it's just, there's a whole lot of moving parts in it. And if anybody, I want to give these cam girls and cam guys the benefit of the doubt and assume that they just don't know what they're doing and that they're overwhelmed or they aren't in that business mindset. Mm-hmm. Buyers beware. Go after content creators that are running their page as a business and not as just like a side hustle or whatever. And you can tell from their content creation, you can tell the girls who put in the work and the girls who are serious about it.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, there are men who will subscribe to OnlyFans just to steal the content and then post it somewhere else and leak it.
Mm-hmm. There was a whole leak, about a month ago?
4 terabyte, I think it was a 4 terabyte leak of OnlyFans content, which is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. That's how much I'm not trying to like talk about how much money I make or anything like that, but like, you know how much money I would have lost over that? Mm-hmm. If all of my OnlyFans content was leaked and nobody ever subscribed to my page again because they already saw it all, I would lose my job. I would have done all of this for nothing. And my content would be on the internet circulating for free forever. I don't think anybody realizes how devastating that leak actually was.
Yeah, it was pretty big. I didn't know it was 4 terabytes, but it was pretty big. It was a lot of people that they.
Some of my videos are gigabyte alone.
Wow. And to go back earlier when you were talking about OnlyFans and you were talking about the creation, like, you know, pretty much running it as a business, and you say you've only been doing it for 5 weeks. How because when I started this YouTube channel back in September, my co-host James and I started the Half-Ass podcast a little bit before that, but we decided to bring everything over to YouTube. And I learn something every single time I do like a podcast, every time I do like an episode of the podcast or any like mini video or anything like that on this channel. I learned something new, and I try and make it better for the viewer in terms of like visually or whether, you know, I can just get a better mic or camera or whatever. How do you look at things when you create your videos on OnlyFans? Is it like, do you do it with just like your phone, or do you do it with like an actual like camera set, or how do you do that?
That took a little bit of figuring out. So right now I'm talking to you on my iPhone 11 Pro Max. So that was since my mom cut me off from my phone and I had to get a new phone plan, and I do this as my job, and it is actual self-employment. You fill out a tax form when you sign up to stream. Mm-hmm. I'm able to write my phone off since it's my phone and my camera, and I use both of those things for work. I'm able to write it off. So I went ahead and got the 11 Pro Max so that I wouldn't have to have a phone and a camera. So I do this phone is fantastic for my content. It does everything I need it to do. And then I have just like a little $25 ring light from Best Buy or whatever. Yeah. Then I've got like a streaming mic that I can like clip on and like kind of hide. I lost it in the move, so we're using Apple default headphones. But where was I going with that? What was the original question? Sorry.
No, just like the different stuff that you use.
Yeah,
like
just
in terms of like
I jerry rig a lot of things.
Oh yeah,
a lot of jerry rigging.
I feel you. So you told me about your number one supporter, at least financially, in terms of, you know, the guy that when you first told me that story, I'm still wrapping my head around it. When we first told that story, I was thinking virtual pimp, but
yeah, yeah.
But so we know about your number one supporter. Now, what if you care to share share the story. What's your worst story about OnlyFans? Even though you've only been doing it for like a little bit over a month, but what's your worst story on OnlyFans?
I'm surprised you didn't see this on Twitter because I thought this was hilarious. So I had a guy subscribe to my page during a promotional period. So his membership for 30 days was $2.60. The minimum that OnlyFans can take out for my taxes is $1. So I made $1.60 from his subscription over 30 days. That's pennies on the dollar a day, if that. And he commented publicly on my stream on one of my tip menus where it's like, if you tip me this, I'll give you this, tip me this, I'll give whatever. He commented and was like, it blows my mind that we have to pay extra for custom content when we already pay monthly. And I'm not dumb. So I went straight to his profile to look at how much he had spent. And I realized that I had earned $1.60 from him. And he was slandering my page.
For the whole month.
For the whole month. I made $1.60 off of him. And he was publicly posting hateful comments on my page as a subscriber. And so I said, here's your $1.60 back. Oh. You're obviously not gonna give me more than that anyway.
So did you block him? Did you like refund it? So you refunded his money and then you blocked him, or?
No, I'm pretty sure he still subscribes. I just refunded I was like, this is my, let me pull it up because it's really worth it. I really think it's worth it. I'm going to read this word for word. Oh, hell.
While you're pulling that up, I just automatically assume. So is OnlyFans, so when you get your subscriber, I automatically assume it's like Instagram. Like when, a gorgeous woman has an Instagram, you got like 100 comments under each picture of like random, fake accounts or whatever, and people asking for more and more and more and more. But again, on the other side, I kind of assume it's not like Instagram because it is a paid site. So you have less, what do you call it? Not necessarily trolls, but like less people trying to get more free content when they clearly know you're not going to get free content when it comes to this site.
So this is something, and I have a lot of girls come to me for training and tips and stuff like that. And I'm eventually going to try to become an official OnlyFans trainer at some point, hopefully. But the first thing that you have to look out for when you start selling stuff on the internet, and I'm sure you know about this, time wasters. People who literally waste your time for no reason. No reason at all. They don't get anything out of it. They don't get any money. They don't hack your account. They're just time wasters. And they're really heavy on Reddit. They're really heavy on like a lot, and they'll lurk, and then they'll come find you at just the right moment. And you're like, why? So a lot when you first start doing stuff like this, you're trying to make all these connections, trying to talk to people one-on-one, really like establish that, be like, hey, I'm your new online girlfriend and you love me. Because that's what it is. That's how you're marketing yourself. You're saying, look, date me online. I'm worth it. That's OnlyFans. So a lot of these guys, they'll hit you up in your DMs. And when you first start doing this and you don't have the confidence and you haven't gotten a whole lot of like positive feedback yet, and you're only seeing that negative over and over and over, and you're wasting your time, you're getting scammed, you're trying to get trolled, like it can be really defeating. So these guys, they'll hit you up and they'll hit your DMs and they'll be like, hey, why aren't you responding? You don't respond to your DMs, bitch. And then they block you and you're like,
oh yeah. You see that all the yeah. You see that all the time.
You're like, bro, I went to go take a shit for 5 minutes. I'm sorry, I didn't have my phone on me.
Yeah.
So and a lot of people, like, they'll promise all these things. I'll give you $300 if you send me this video, or I'll give you this ridiculous amount of money. And it sounds so good at first, and you're like, I've made it. And then they're like, oh no, I'll only wire it to your bank account. So I need your banking account information. And you're like,
fuck no.
I spent 3 days chatting with you one-on-one for you to ask me for my bank account. First of all, bro, if I had money, I wouldn't be doing this. You're not going to get nothing. Like, here, take my account. If you find anything, let me know.
Nah, fam.
But
Nah.
No, so the first thing that you have to do is block access to your DMs until somebody tributes. That is the first thing you have to do, because otherwise your phone will be blowing up. A tribute is basically a down payment or like a startup fee or any sort of, it can be $1, it can be 50 cents, any sort of money contribution that shows that they are serious buyers.
Okay.
And not time wasters and not scammers and not people who are trying to sell your content for themselves, like for their own profit.
So is there something you can like set, like a certain amount that you set for them to send? So if you say like they have to pay like $5, it's just as long as they put money or something? What? I
suggest $5, but honestly, if somebody sent me 50 cents, I would be like, all right. Because these scammers, they don't even have their Cash Apps set up. They don't have Cash Apps. They don't have anything like that. But the people who are serious, and like when they're sending the money on Cash App, like they're usually using their personal account. So now I know who you are. Now I know you're serious. So that cuts out so much time and effort and frustration and like disappointment too. That's
crazy. Like I didn't like it's so OnlyFans is like the real deal apparently. Like it's
a job. It's a full-time job, let me tell you. I was working 24/7 for the first 3 weeks that I did this. I did not sleep, I did not eat. It was scary. Like
So what all goes into it? Like what all, like besides was it content-wise, or was it just like behind the scenes stuff you were working on?
Content-wise, it looks like I only post on all my socials about once a day. But I'm working all day throughout the day, whether that be taking photos. So when you take photos, first of all, you have to look good. You can't just, like eat a whole pizza in your pajamas and then go take a selfie really quick. No, you're going to have to go take a shower and shave. And like when you're putting out high quality content, like most of us are now because we're on iPhones or, something similar, it shows your flaws. It'll show everything, and we're already showing everything. So it's showing everything on your everything. You have to be ready. You have to have your lighting right. You have to have your angles right. You have to make sure that you did not miss a pube that day, or that you're keeping track of your unibrow and stuff like that. Like they're gonna see, and somebody's gonna point it out.
Yeah, you don't want to turn a camera on with some nasty ass. That's for sure.
You have to be careful, because like one day if somebody catches you slipping and you didn't pluck your eyebrows that day, you're going to hear about it, probably from more than one person. And it can be really defeating. It can be really disheartening. Be like, guys, you don't understand. Like, no matter how stressed out you are, no matter how much pressure you're under, me, when I was cut off from my phone and I was homeless for a couple of weeks, not really homeless, but like basically kicked out of my mom's house. I couldn't work or do anything. I had to go get this apartment and like get my new phone plan, and I was waiting on all these things in the mail, and everything's backed up because of COVID. And like, I'm also trying to keep up on all my socials and my OnlyFans and everything like that. Like, I was so stressed out, but you can't put content out like that. So you have to get dressed. You have to put your makeup on. You have to shave your legs. You have to shave your coochie. You have to show up. You have to put a smile on your face, and you have to tell these people whatever they want to hear, and you have to just pretend like everything's okay. And that might be the hardest part, is things that men don't ever think about. Like, I've been going through all these family issues. Like, sometimes I am not in the mood. And this is where a lot of girls need to remember that this is a business, and they are paying a monthly fee, and they're paying a certain amount of money per day to see your content, however often you're putting it out, however often you choose to. I was really worried that I was making these people pay these ridiculous prices for quality content, and I wasn't delivering. Yeah. And at first I tried to keep up and tried to pretend like nothing was happening. And I ended up, selling somebody the same video twice. And that's really not something I want to do. That's not a position I want to be in. I don't want to, lose that subscriber. I don't want to look dumb. I don't want to look like I'm scamming anybody or trying to cop out or anything like that. So I ended up just taking a couple of videos of myself and posting it on my actual stream. So it's like, it's on my OnlyFans page. It's not, I'm fully clothed and whatever, just talking about what's going on in my life. And that was, you know, putting yourself on your porn page out there, being that vulnerable, saying, I'm a real person, I'm going through these things, and I'm sorry that I didn't get your content out to you today, but I can't get it up.
And, you know, you have those, you know, because I've been just watching porn since I was like fucking like 11 or 12. It's like, so you have like your content creators and your adult entertainers that some of them, they don't like, because you don't have to do what you did, like, which is make a video and say and try and explain to people, because you have and they're not necessarily being assholes, but they might go about it in an asshole-ish way and say like, oh, I don't have to explain anything to you, after sending someone the same video twice for something that they paid for or something like that, you know, like I mean, I'm sure it's happened. I've seen some, you know, content creators and sex workers send video, like make videos of like bashing their entire fan base just because they're in a bad mood, and then next thing you know, they're not getting any money, you know, and it's you know, you're hurting your brand, and it's not just like in the entertainment industry. I mean, in the adult entertainment industry, that's just in business in general. You don't really want to bash your audience, period, because it'll definitely come back and bite you in the ass later. And I do want to ask you, as we're winding down here in the interview, I do want to ask you about your future. So it's like, because I know you mentioned being a trainer on OnlyFans, like wanting to be a trainer of OnlyFans, and train other women that are looking to get into the business or are already in the business and are not flourishing as well as you are or as well as anyone else is. And they kind of need a bit of like a push or somebody to guide them. So you mentioned that. But what about like future? Like in terms of like, is OnlyFans, is this a short-term plan or is this a long-term plan? Because I again, in our generation, it's not as common for us to just be like, oh, we want to have kids. But if you were to, because I don't know if you want to have kids or not, but if you were to have kids, are you afraid of this getting out, or would it affect you, or have you thought about that yet?
My partner does have kids, and he does have little girls, so that is really important to me, to be a good role model for them, and to make sure that they find out about what I do or what I've been doing when they get older, in the right way and in the right light and in the right context. So and like I said, one of my big reasons for doing this is sexual education, is to, you know, kind of indirectly let men know, because this goes along with the video that I posted where I literally had to tell my subscribers I wasn't in the mood to deliver their content. I wasn't in the mood. Mm-hmm. And I would have never done that. Never. Like, you know, yeah. I was kind of raised, or I guess I had this sort of idea in my head that like, if your man wanted to fuck, you had to fuck. And when I also said this, like when I first started going through all this stuff, I tried to pretend like nothing was happening. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the response and the feedback that I got from my subscribers when I was like, look, I'm going through stuff, I'm not in the mood, I'm gonna be honest with you, and like I'm gonna let you know when your videos are on the way and stuff, but like I just can't right now. And I was so scared that I was gonna lose everything. So scared. But to my surprise, they were like, "Are you okay? Is there a bill I can pay? Like, don't worry about my content. Like, it's all right." I'll tip you extra on top of it.
That was their responses?
I swear to God.
No way, really?
I swear to God, they are patiently waiting.
So here's a bigger question, because now you raise another big question for me. Would you have taken their payments if they would have offered to pay your bills?
I do not take payment in advance.
I like that.
So for all of my custom content is pay per view. So you do not pay a single penny until I have filmed it, edited it, uploaded it, and sent it to you. And then you pay a price to unlock it. Some of these guys, they really want to show you that they're serious about their video, and they'll go ahead and send you like the money up front or whatever. that makes me uncomfortable because it puts like kind of an extra pressure on me. Yeah, because you're like, oh crap, like now I have to move this up to the top of my list, and this guy who's waiting for 3 days has to get bumped down again. Like, it's like there's a lot of moving parts, and it is a business. Bottom line, it's a business, and I think that the way I've done this, where I've been completely honest, and you can tell from my page that I'm a real person with real feelings, going through real shit, and providing you real custom content. I think it all goes together, and I think that's been why my page has been so successful, because it's literally it's face value.
Yeah.
And I don't ask for anything more than I need to.
And as you can already tell, I'm someone that is do what makes you happy. Like I like supporting. I wouldn't say necessarily like support, like full on supporting, but like I don't bother anybody in terms of what they choose for their career, because it's what you want to do. Like, as long as it makes you happy, do whatever, especially in this generation as well, like the generation that we grew up in, and the generation under us, like everybody's pretty much, we're actually doing pretty good in terms of the generation that came before us, when they were just told to do this, told to do that, and now we're just doing what we want to do. I think that's one of the positives coming out of our generation. That's one of the very few positives that came out of our generations. But let's say, because to caveat onto my question about the long-term plan, like, is OnlyFans a long-term plan for you?
I have more about that.
Is being a sex worker a long-term? Are you okay with that term? Because I just now learned about that term like a year ago. So
I'm a sex worker.
Yeah, okay.
I work in sex.
Okay.
Like, it's like a hospital employee. It's an employee in the hospital.
Yeah. All right.
So it's a word.
I just want to make sure, because some people get it. You know what I mean? You never know who gets offended about stuff nowadays. So I always got to ask.
Yeah. So I prefer the term like fantasy creator or fantasy maker or something like that, because my page focuses more on the acting side of it.
Okay. So fantasy creator or what is the other one's fantasy what?
Fantasy maker or fantasy creator, whatever. Oh. I mean, I don't have a real word for it. It's sort of how I'm trying to brand myself, and I haven't really quite hit it on the head yet. But like my point is, if there's something that you've been wondering about, something that you're curious about, or something that you're into and you don't know why and you can't get over it, and it's, your girlfriend doesn't understand or whatever, like, I'm not here to steal you away from your girl. Like, if you are in love with your girl, you are super happy, but she does not shit on the floor for you. Okay.
All right.
All right. If there's a market, I'm in it. I mean.
So, all right. Another question before I get to the question I was about to ask you. So what's this? All right. I've always wanted to know. Maybe you have the answers. I don't know, because I really don't know too much about fetishes. Foot fetish. How is that a thing?
Are you on my Instagram?
No.
Okay, so you missed my whole foot fetish series. So I am a foot model. And that was another thing that happened upon me.
Like, people were just asking you for like foot pictures, or like
there was a couple of people that kept commenting on like I was taking like a bunch of selfies in the mirrors and stuff, and they kept commenting on my feet, and I was like, that whole picture, and you were looking at my feet? I have really small feet. I do. Like, that's a fact. So I had no idea that there was a whole market for that. And honestly, it's one of my favorite things. I like, and like I said, I'm down for anything. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Like, if it's gonna make you feel good and makes me like my work makes me feel good, like let's do it. And so these people were telling me about like foot worship and stuff, and I was like, foot worship?
Yeah, that's what I've always thought that. I'm just like, what do people get out of feet? But
listen, there are these tiny little things that hold up your entire body for the whole day, and we just like ignore them and call them gross and hide them. And so like I still don't get it. I don't get this like foot jobs. Like, I don't get that part of it. But the foot worship and stuff, it's just like, it's taking care of your body and taking care of yourself in a different way.
Yeah.
And like focusing the attention on a body part that's not over sexualized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I do have a fetish myself, so I do understand fetishes in general. Feet specifically, not so much, but I'm an ear person.
What?
I love ears. I love like licking people's ears and like biting people's ears and just like rubbing
I've had that
them.
happen before.
I love rubbing
the
ears like that.
I can understand, I guess.
Yeah, I like breathing in their ears. I don't know. Anything with the ears, like I just think the ears are like such underdone foreplay. And I think that when you do these things that people aren't expecting and like you do these things that you don't normally do, it heightens your senses. It kind of like opens your mind a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So like as for the whole foot thing, I'm not into feet. I don't give foot jobs. That's not a thing that me and my partner do in the bedroom.
Yeah.
That's not, I am a foot model, but I just supply the feet.
So all right. So to get back to my question about the long-term thing, because we have seen, especially now with the whole COVID stuff that's going on, or at least was going on at the height of it, we saw so many, not just single people and not just girlfriends doing it, not just their boyfriends doing it, but we've seen couples get together, hell, even famous couples get together and create OnlyFans accounts and jump on this whole OnlyFans thing. Mm-hmm. Now, with that being said, again, speaking about long-term, if someone were to, because we've seen the cancel culture happen, and then 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, people are still getting canceled nowadays for shit they did 20 years ago, or shit that they said 20 years ago, which to me is outlandish. But with that being said, 5 years from now or 10 years from now, where do you see yourself? And if it's not with OnlyFans, like, I'm not asking would you ever regret doing it, because obviously you wouldn't if you're doing it now.
Oh, no. Sometimes I regret it every day.
Would you say what?
Sometimes I regret doing this.
Really?
I mean, sometimes there are some times where it really does get to you, where you feel so out of your depth. You don't, you're trying to learn how to edit photos, edit videos, do follower gain tricks and stuff that you've never done before in your life. I mean, it can be really overwhelming. And like when you do think about people who are working 9 to 5s and stuff, and they don't have to work constantly throughout the day, every single day and stuff like that. Like I do get kind of envious sometimes of people. I mean, I'm sure that people who are working 9 to 5s are envious of me being able to work from home and work on my own schedule. But like sometimes I want to leave my work at work and I can't, because my work is my life.
You know what's funny that you say that? Because I was talking, I want to say it was at least 2 people that I was talking to the other day at work, actually. And we, the whole, OnlyFans thing popped up because, we're just sitting there on lunch break, and the whole thing comes up that, so-and-so or this person has an OnlyFans now, blah, 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 whatever. And it's funny you say that about, like, you're working hard too. And that right there is an exclamation point. And I want the people watching this interview to see that. Because
this is the hardest job I've ever had in my life.
Because I didn't even know that. I didn't know that you guys, like, I kind of somewhat assumed that some creators do that some creators really do, they don't just phone it in when they make their content, when they film something, when they do all these different videos for their subscribers. But the way you're talking and what you're saying, what I'm getting from you is that, yeah, you're working just as hard, if not harder, than some people working 9 to 5 on being a fantasy creator, being, that person that actually works for their subscribers and actually does what they need to do in order to make it better for their viewers.
You get out what you put into it. That's the first thing I tell people when they ask me what it's like to be on OnlyFans. You get out what you put into it. If you're going to put an hour a day into it, you're not really going to get anywhere. if you want to grow like I did and get to the point where I am, you're not going to have a life for a couple weeks. I'm sorry. Yeah. But that's just the way it goes. And it creates this sort of like tangly spider web in your life where you're like, who can I tell what I do? Who can I not talk about this around? Like, you know, I've got my partner's family to think about and his kids and all these different elements going on. Like there's, you know, that pressure in itself. And then the pressure of like, you're wholly responsible for where your business goes and what people think about it. You are wholly responsible for the quality of your business. Yeah. And that can be a lot of pressure. You can't outsource to other people. You don't have coworkers. You don't have colleagues. You don't have people you're collaborating with or consulting with. You're on your own. And sometimes there's nobody to hold the camera. And sometimes there's nobody that can tell you which filter looks better or whatever. And you have to make that judgment call on yourself. And like, you know, sometimes, I know it sounds silly, but sometimes that's the difference between you making $0 that day and making $100 that day. Yeah,
because because we're like, even myself, I'm not afraid to admit, even myself, I was under the impression of like, oh, they just, you know, put a camera in front of themselves and you either, you know, whack off or they finger themselves or whatever. But it's a whole, like pretty much a whole production. Pretty much.
You're challenging yourself. You're stepping out of your comfort zone. You're doing things that other people are telling you to do. I mean, you're letting other people have like basically direction over you for a certain amount of time. And there's the whole chance. There's plenty of times where people have requested custom content and I have spent the time, you know, watching porn or like making out with my boyfriend to get in the mood for the video. And like when you're making 7 videos back to back to back to back to back to back to back, and you've already came like 17 times and you don't want to do anything and you're just disgusted with yourself and like what you're doing, you're just like, ugh, like I want to go curl up in my sweatpants and pet a cat. Like sometimes you just really can't, but you have to push through. I had another point. I did it again. I lost my train of thought.
This is time. Number 5?
I have adult ADHD. This is why this is the perfect job for me. So yeah.
So another question I had about like you with your relationship with your boyfriend. Does he ever get frustrated with you? Because you said that like you'll do like 7 videos back to back, right? And then you'll come or you'll nut, whatever, you know, you want to call it. But, you know, you'll climax so many times. And after that, is it hard for you to do that once, you know, right after those videos, maybe not right after those videos, but like after those videos, and then, you know, you and your boyfriend kind of get intimate. Is it harder for you to, you know, get things going after that? If so, does he get frustrated?
Let's put it this way. Say you've been single for a little bit, you've been on Tinder for a while, shit's pretty dry, so you decide to have a marathon masturbation session. That night, your dream chick hits you up. What do you do?
Shit. Let her know and say, hey, actually, I don't even know if I would even tell her. I'd be like, well, I'm not going to lie. I'd just try and get it off. I'd at least try. So that's what you do.
My man is the love of my life, my dream man. I would do anything for him. I'm absolutely 100% totally attracted to him. I don't even see faces on the other side of what I'm doing. Sometimes it's just me and the camera, like nothing really stimulating or anything like that. So it can feel like work. So I will say that the sex that I'm putting out as my content and the sex that I have in the bedroom, personally, 2 completely different things, 2 completely different mindsets, 2 completely different styles. I mean,
so it's pretty easy for you to just get like right into it then.
With him, yeah.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. With me, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe with guys, I don't know if it's just a guy thing. I'm not gonna be that guy to say, "Oh, it's just guys" or anything like that. But maybe it's just a guy thing where it's like, if I'm whacking off, first of all, whacking off 7 times in one day is crazy. But
yeah,
if I were to say maybe 3 times before 8 p.m. and then somebody says, hey, want to come over or whatever, I'm struggling. I'm not going to lie.
It's
I'm
not
struggling.
easy. It's not easy. But again, it's your job. That's your job.
Yeah.
It's not your man's fault that your job is fucking yourself.
Yeah.
Nope. He did not put me up to this. I signed up for this, so I'm gonna deal with it.
So all right. So we're gonna finally get to this question, to the long term question. So long term, and I know you mentioned, your boyfriend's kids and everything, and your future. Long term though, like, where do you still see yourself in this industry 5 years from now or 10 years from now?
I absolutely think that I have a knack for online marketing, digital content creation, like internet persona in general. I had never done it myself before this, but I understood it. I kind of knew how it worked, and I knew I probably could if I tried.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I just felt like I didn't look the part, and that was the only thing holding me back. And then, I finally found I made the outsides match the inside, and it just kind of took off from there. So for the future, like I said, I would really like to have a team of OnlyFans girls that I manage, because I am ready to take on more and learn more about this and get better at it and get to a point where, I can create my own career out of it long term. So I would like to start collaborating with different people on different sort of content projects, whether, not even only on OnlyFans. Like, I work with a couple of my friends who want to be personal trainers on their pages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's also a couple other elements in my life that I want to incorporate into this. So I would really like to start writing again. I put out a series of short stories a couple of years ago. They were in the horror fiction genre.
Awesome. I'm a huge horror fan, so that's pretty interesting. It's awesome.
Yeah, so I wrote a short story that actually ended up getting read in Hawaii and some other wild places. I don't even know how, but I wrote this story about this girl who went to her first day of community college because her dad told her to, and then she meets this chick, and this chick transports strippers and is basically like a pimp. And so they hang out together and they go to the strip club, and they both end up getting murdered at the strip club. I won't tell you how, but so I don't really know. I guess that's just where my brain goes, is to darkness and sexuality and things that we don't talk about. I want to talk about things we don't talk about. Mm-hmm. And I want to advocate, sexual awareness, sexual health, sexual education, consent. I have a problem with getting dick pics without consent. I know I'm a sex worker, but I'm a person, and that's my personal cell phone. And when I'm in Walmart in the checkout line and I open up my Instagram and it's somebody's penis that I don't even know, I'm like, could you ask?
I actually had a friend in college that the same thing would happen to her, and she wasn't even promoting it. She wasn't even in the industry at all. Just some random chick, and I guess they saw her in a bikini in her summer vacation that she had, and then she'll start getting I think her first week on Instagram, she got 3 different dick pics from random people she from around the world. Yeah. And I was like, man, this is nuts. This is what chick again. I'm not standing in the forefront for chicks or anything like that. But I'm just thinking to myself, this is what chicks have to deal with. It is pretty crazy. It is nuts.
Chicks are guilty of this too. So I'm very, very openly bisexual. All my friends, everybody in my life has known that for a really long time. Mm-hmm. But since this is probably one of the most fascinating things to me. Since I started streaming I've gotten a lot of nudes from my girlfriends.
Really?
A lot. Just unsolicited, no consent, just titties on my Snapchat of girls that I, care about deeply. And I don't know what to do with it. It's almost worse than the dick pics because I'm like, honey,
what you should do with the business mindset is, if you're okay with it, if your boyfriend's okay with it or whatever, have them in on your content on OnlyFans. That's a business.
Well, see, no, that's the thing is though, like a lot of these girls, like I've asked them to stream with me and they say no. Like I'm like, do you want to make content together? And they say no, but then they'll send me nudes for like my own personal use, and I'm like, I don't know. Okay.
I feel that.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I'm just like, you look great. Great work. Like you look like you're really feeling yourself today.
Yeah, because I know on my side, if I was getting like tit pics, I'd have a totally different reaction than you would or any chick would when it comes to dick pics. Even though, again, like I feel like what's funny? I feel like you would probably be the person for me to have on here again, so that we could actually, like, if I had like my other co-host on here or on my other podcast, Contemporary Comments, where we sit down and we actually go over consent, because that is one thing that I feel like is.
You want me to run a segment?
Huh?
You want me to run a segment?
Sure. Seriously, on what consent, because there are underlying things, and I feel like maybe I would learn a thing or two about it too, because it's not that I've done anything or anything like that, but it's just like there are a lot of things where there are a lot of situations where I have always questioned whether it's, again, not saying I've been in those situations, but just saying, like, looking at those situations where people have been, accused of doing this or that, of whether it's actually consent or not. Like we've always been told, growing up, if both of you are drunk, you don't have sex, period, because it's not really consensual. Like, she doesn't say yes. It's not really, even if she does say yes, but she's under the influence, she's still, you still take that as no. I've always wondered why. I've never done it, but I've always wondered why. And, it's just situations like that where I think to myself, like, we really need to know what consent really is, because we weren't really taught what consent was. Because I'm not saying there have been like, there are new rules added, but there's definitely like a sense of, I know that I'm not the only person that doesn't really know that it's not just yes or no. You know what I mean? That it's not just like a simple, like, okay, you meet a girl, it's yes or no, kind of have sex. Because now I'm sure you probably know way more stories than I do about shit that's happening nowadays, about, what chicks have gone through, and surprisingly what dudes have gone through as well. And
absolutely.
And I think that with all the shit that's going on nowadays, there's more situations where it kind of leaves me scratching my head, where it's like, well, was that really, you know what I mean? Like, and I've gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? It's gotten so crazy, I might have to walk around with a paper, and I meet a chick and we go back to the crib and I'm like, you're going to have to sign this saying that you are consenting to this. Like, you're saying yes. And like, I tell my homeboys all the time, like I tell my other co-hosts on Comrades as well, and they think I'm crazy. But I honestly don't think it saves you, because
it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, because I'm looking to get into the entertainment industry, which is why I'm here. And I don't want to be successful, 5 or 10 years down the road, and then somebody says I did something just because I didn't, just because, maybe they thought I wanted a relationship. Maybe they thought I was going to give them money. You know what I mean? Like, it's just different stuff. There's different reasons. And not saying every woman is doing that, but you never know.
Yeah. So to kind of answer your general question, what is consent? Mm-hmm. I would say, in my opinion, consent, it doesn't have to be awkward. It doesn't have to be pre-planned. In the moment, you can ask for consent without ruining the mood. Mm-hmm. Simply by saying, like they do in the movie, like, hey, I'd really like to kiss you right now. Is that okay? Like, it doesn't have to be weird. Yeah. Or like, I don't, there are ways to not be weird about it. Consent to me is letting someone know what you're about to do and asking if it's okay.
But do you need consent though to kiss someone on the first date? On the first date, do you really? Because I've asked, all right, because I've asked females this before. Not obviously not like I ain't like that where I'm going to ask a female that I want to kiss. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean. But I've asked females that I'm maybe acquaintance with or friends with, whatever. Like on a first date, because nowadays, because like back when we were growing up, I mean, we were pretty much almost somewhat the same. We're in the same age group, but growing up, no one was asking anybody. You know what I mean? Like no one was really asking anybody to kiss. We were just, going for the kiss. If she backs off, that means no. If she continues to kiss you, then obviously you're doing something right, But now it's not like that. Now it's like, because now we have Twitter, now we have Instagram, now we have all these social media outlets and Facebook, and people will just go and say, oh my God, this guy kissed me. He basically sexually assaulted me or sexually harassed me because he kissed me on the first date, and I didn't really like the date, blah, blah, blah. I mean, as long as he didn't go further after that first kiss, if you told him that you did not want to be kissed and he left it at that, there should be no problem. You know what I mean? But then again, that's me. I'm a man, and that's my standpoint on it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
From a woman's standpoint, she might feel violated,
This is where both genders or both whatever the situation is need to be aware of what kind of signals they're sending, what kind of body language you're using.
Yeah.
Because if I want to give this chick the benefit of the doubt and say that if she posted it on Facebook, I'm going to assume that she gave him body language that let him know she wasn't interested.
Mm-hmm.
And I think men try to.
Sorry,
I don't think it's. You're good. I don't think it's on purpose, but I think there are situations where men will sort of, just like how they say women ignore red flags at first in relationships or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like men do that too. I think that men, for the sake of being hopeful, will overlook the subtleties.
Yeah, but that is a problem though. I feel like overlooking a woman's body language, same way a woman overlooks a man's body language sometimes, or a man's demeanor sometimes. Like those are both red flags. Like I feel like and again, like I don't want to go too deep into this because I feel like this is just like an episode like within itself. That
mm-hmm.
Maybe I could have you back on here again and we go over this with further detail. But yeah, like it's definitely something that I feel like needs to be talked about and it's an issue that needs to be brought into light so we let other people know and let viewers and people with audiences know that, hey, this is how you ask for consent. This is no, this is yes, whatever.
And it is confusing.
Yeah.
And I've been rejected before and had no idea what I did.
Really?
Absolutely.
I never heard women getting rejected. That's crazy.
I've been rejected a few times.
That's crazy. Can you share one story if that's okay?
One story. Oh, okay. Yeah. I have a very, very specific story. There was this dude that I thought was in love with me forever. And I was always like with somebody else or something like that. And then like there was one day where we finally hung out together when we were both single and we were like cuddling on a couch watching a movie and shit. And I tried to kiss him and he rejected me.
Wow.
And I was so mortified and shocked and ashamed at that I just like never talked to him again. I had no idea. I still to this day have no idea what was wrong with that situation.
Oh my God. That's nuts. I've never heard women. I might have heard a couple stories of women getting rejected, but not many times. Not much.
I don't know what that was.
That's crazy. But so I mean, is there anything else you want to get out to the audience, let the audience know about anything in terms of anything you go through, anything else with OnlyFans, the benefits of it, or anything like that?
would just say, well, first, to answer your previous question about like what's going on in the future or whatever, where I was going with like that writing thing is I think I'm going to start writing literotica soon. Be on the lookout for that. So I want to write like, or maybe young adult fiction. I don't know, something like that. Something sexually empowering, but also educational, you know. So for what I want people to know about, I would just say like, this is a really hard time for a lot of people, especially during this pandemic and everything. And there's all this talk about, you know, people who are essential versus people who are unemployed and on unemployment, and which is fair and which is, you know, the people on unemployment are getting too much and people who are essential aren't getting enough. That sort of parallels towards this type of work where it's like there's really not one better than the other, and both have their pros and cons. So next time you come across a sex worker's page or one of your friends, acquaintances, family members wants to try something new, please have an open mind, because in this generation, in the year 2020, it's not fair to call someone crazy, desperate, you know, say they need help, to shame somebody for wanting to venture out and try something new and try something that's kind of controversial as well. Because obviously, if we're at the point where we're putting our naked bodies online, we already feel like either we have nothing left to lose or we're willing to risk it all. And so, bottom line is, we don't need to hear it from you. We've already heard it all. We don't need that judgment. We're not even really asking for support or acceptance. If you don't have something nice to say about a sex worker, just don't say it at all. It's not your body. It's not your say. What we do is not illegal. It's not hurting anyone else. You know, most of the time we're not even hurting ourselves. So, yeah. And that can apply to anything. If somebody wants to like give up their doctorate in doctoring and go be an artist, like, be gentle on people, because it takes a lot of balls and a lot of planning and a lot of risk to put yourself in situations like these and hope that they pay off.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say about that.
And I have one last question for you too. So I don't know if you know who Riley Reid is. You know who Riley Reid is? No? Okay. So she's a woman. She's in the adult industry and very famous in adult industry, like porn. And I know. I just wanted to ask you, because now that you're in the industry, she's someone that walks around and like she pretty much. This is where I feel like it kind of gives the industry a bad name, the sex worker industry a bad name, because she goes around and she has this like YouTube channel where she like walks around the streets of like LA and Miami and like asks guys for their dick pics, with other porn stars as well. And of course, you know, us guys being guys and Riley Reid being Riley Reid, where, you know, most guys probably know who she is. We're like, you know, guys are like, okay, you know, does this put because people like Riley Reid has given porn a bad name only because you see the outpour of people that have seen that kind of content and seen the videos that she's been putting out, and they've automatically like shunned, because you see all the time where like Instagram will just shun porn stars or anybody in terms of, you know, adult entertainment, or anybody that's in terms of, you know, being a sex worker or, you know, creator of any kind in that area. Do you feel like that's like the bad part of the entertainment industry, or is that just like subjective from the people on the outside looking in?
So was that game or segment, whatever you want to call it, was that associated with her content or with
it was with her YouTube,
her personal life,
her personal like YouTube? But like it's like out, you know what I mean? It's like she's like one of those, like she has like her own brand, so like her whole name is like, when you hear Riley Reid, you think of, you know, porn, because that's what she's made famous for. But now, of course, she does the whole Twitch thing, and then she does YouTube and everything else. But of course, you know, YouTube, you know, everybody's on YouTube now, so everybody watches the videos and stuff like that, and they see that. And, you know, it's 2020, so now, you know, people are going to be like, okay, woman walks around asking guys for dick pics, but if the roles were reversed, you know, obviously this would not, guys would probably be getting arrested for this shit.
Right.
So, like,
so
go ahead.
What's your favorite burger?
Ooh. There's this place back home called Jack Brown's. They have this burger called Daily Russo. I think that's probably my favorite burger. Or
Okay, what's
Tasty
your least
Freeze.
favorite
Tasty
burger?
Freeze has a bacon cheese.
What'd you say? Good. What's your least favorite burger? Burger that you think gives all
Steak
other
and Shake,
burgers a bad
hands
name.
down.
Do you still eat burgers?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're not going to let one bad apple spoil the bunch.
No.
I think people's pornography and personality are two separate things, because most of the time when you're doing pornography, you are acting. That's not your personality. At least that's the case for me. It is a lot of acting, and you can tell in my personal posts on my OnlyFans that my personality is a lot different than when I am on show. So I would say that if she puts out really decent pornography, then good for her. If she wants to open her mouth like that, that's also up to her. And whoever is going to let one ruin the other, that's up to them.
Yeah, because I looked at that and I'm like, I mean, when you have like this whole crowd of people saying like, oh, she's ruining this for porn, blah, 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 because there are, especially in the porn part of being a sex worker, like in that whole like film industry part of it, they kind of like, once the cameras are turned off and they go out into the world outside of where they shoot at, they are like, it's like full dread, like you're not walking, this isn't like the early 2000s anymore where you're like walking around in like bikinis and walk around with like skin, like they actually walk around like, you know, business suits on and stuff like that. And then they kind of shun people like Riley Reid out, like us younger generation out, because they're trying to work towards keeping porn and not having porn out in like public area, you know what I mean? Like kind of like not bringing it so like making it so broad, you know. Like me, I'm not either. I'm like either or. Like it's I'm not on either side of the fence on that one, only because it's like I can see where someone like that is coming from, where people want to express it more than just in porn, but like outside of porn as well. And then I can also see the other side where it's like people, they also want to have like that business side to them as well, and they want to carry themselves a different way when it's off camera as well. Like it's weird.
Yeah, I mean that's all up to you and your personal sexual identity. I don't really identify as a very sexual person. I'm honestly, my partner and I are pretty vanilla personally. That's just I mean, I like to make love. I don't really like to fuck. So like I mean, sometimes I like to fuck, but I think, but like what I'm saying is like when I go to Walmart, no, I'm in sweatpants and a t-shirt and I don't have makeup on. I'm not Chris Rose 100% of the time, but that was my decision. If Riley Reid wants to be Riley Reid 100% of the time, then that is up to her. But she's gonna need a break at some point. So I really hope that people who choose to go that route do have a fallback for when they need a break from that persona, because you can't be somebody else for an extended period of time. It's exhausting.
Oh yeah,
it's absolutely exhausting. So it's the same. And again, the sex worker industry is the same as any other career industry. Mm-hmm. You're going to have those people that have their life and their work way too intertwined, and they get burnout.
Yeah.
And they end up crashing and burning. So this is where I think mental health is also really important for sex workers, because we do go through a lot, we hear a lot, we see a lot, we have to do a lot. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason why I'm open about being in like counseling over this is to show people that this isn't something you do when you're psycho. This isn't something you do when you're going off the rails, wilding out, whatever you want to call it. This was a choice for me, a very, very personal choice, and a very, very publicly personal choice.
Yeah.
And I can only speak for the brands that I have created for myself. I can't speak for anybody else. There is a good chance that Riley Reid does only act like that for a certain portion of the day, and the rest of the day she's whoever she actually is, and nobody knows about it, and she keeps it under wraps.
Yeah.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
It's
just like, because like when I first, I think I was like right as soon as I turned 18, and I just found out that they're actually acting in porn. They're not really orgasming and stuff like that. And then like it's like the same thing when like I'm like 11 years old and I found out wrestling isn't real. You know, it's just like, you know. But
John Cena's not really that
bad. Yeah. You mean to tell me Kane can't fight? You know, but
you can see. I'm just joking. Don't post that.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, you know, it is what it is. I just want to say thank you for taking the time out today to doing this. This was supposed to be, I think, we were supposed to do this Monday, I think it was. But yeah, you were, you know, in the process of, doing your stuff, whatever. But yeah, again, like, thank you for being able to take the time out and doing this interview. Hopefully, I can have you back on here or on my other podcast, on a Contemporary
whatever
Comrades,
you need,
to talk about the whole, consent thing or whatever, because that's a really big issue as well. Anything you want to plug? Where can people find you, Chris?
Okay, so my handles for everything are CGarbage, so it's SEAGARBAGEEE, 3 E's at the end. If you want my free page, it's onlyfans.com/CGarbage with 3 E's and then the word free. I will send all of this to you, because it's kind of complicated, but if you guys like what you see, like what you hear, and are interested in learning more about me, you can subscribe to my OnlyFans VIP page. That is the only site out of all of the interwebs where I will respond to your DMs for free. My monthly subscription rates are low, and you're not required to buy any custom content. So if you want to do one-on-one chats with me, I will respond to your DMs every single time if you sub to my VIP page. My free OnlyFans page has softcore content, and then also some uncensored content available for purchase. And then, as always, my Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit accounts are always free for your viewing pleasure, whatever you find on there. Hopefully, I will get a blog up and running soon with some of my stories and a couple samples of the literotica that I'm working on. And other than that,
I want to say thank you for even responding, because I had a tough time looking for it, which rightfully so, like, because when I first started, like,
they thought you were a scammer.
Well, not just that.
I thought you were
like,
a scammer.
People were just like, it's weird because, and I kind of knew what I was getting into anyways, because I don't want to say I fully know what it's like, but I have an idea what it's like when a guy messages someone in the industry. Like, it's
no,
like,
I can tell you exactly what you did wrong, because I know exactly what you did wrong with me, but I still went with it anyway. So I guarantee you were messaging people without tributing.
No, well, I went through like Twitter and Instagram looking for people, because I don't really.
I take tributes on my Twitter and my Instagram.
Oh, okay.
I did my research on you first. Trust me.
Okay.
So a lot of these girls, like I said earlier, one of the first things you learned is that to avoid time wasters, you require a tribute. So sometimes I don't even see messages from people until they cash at me and give me their username, and then I have to go back through and find their messages. So most of the time I don't even look at anything without the tribute, because it's probably not going to be worth my time.
Yeah.
That was the first thing. The second thing is right off the bat saying something about a Skype interview, because a lot of times when you first get into this and people know that scammers know that you're new, they'll request a live Skype session, and they'll cover up their camera and they will screen record everything that you do and then sell it as a full-length video.
Like, even if you don't do anything? So, like, like, you'll just, like, because you'll show up fully clothed and then they'll just, like, record?
Then they'll, like, get really mad at you and stuff. Yeah, like, hold on a second. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
So kind of like how they do in messages, where they'll just, like, they'll keep messaging you and then you don't respond and it'll just start, like, flipping out?
Yeah, it's happened to me on Snapchat too before, where somebody scheduled a live chat with me and I got on the chat and he told me to, like, put my thing down so I could read his live chat. So he was texting me while my face was showing, and he was asking for all these different things, and he was like, I just don't want to reveal my identity or whatever. And then I was like, okay, like, what I usually do to ensure satisfaction on both ends is I will get them on the call, and then I won't say or do anything until they pay the down payment. And usually the down payment's like 50% of the time of the call. And then after the call is over, if they're satisfied, I'll get the other 50%. So that's how I ensure that both parties are satisfied. But with these scammers, they'll get you on the Skype or the Snapchat call, and then they'll start the screen recording so that you don't know what's happening. And then they'll ask you to do all these things, and they'll record your reactions. And sometimes they'll, like, make you mad on purpose, just to, like, get content of you getting mad, because there's, like, fetishes for that too. I'm dead serious. And then you get off the call and you didn't get, like, listen, I have gotten showered, shaved, makeup, picked out my outfit, got my lighting, my angles, everything set up, had my, like, open broadcasting software set up, streaming through whatever, and like, everything was safe and secure and everything. And this dude shows up on the call and he, like, won't send me any money, and I just wasted 3 hours of my life getting ready, and then I'm like, where's my down payment? And, like, he's just recording me getting mad, and then I, hang up the phone and block him or whatever, see that he screen recorded the whole thing, and I'm like, well, goddamn.
I hope you didn't spend 3 hours getting ready for this interview.
No, not today. Not today. This is all natural, baby. I just look this good.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, because I messaged quite a few, and I was like, and, I gave you a try, and I was like, man, I got a few responses, but yeah, there were some, because I started this channel in September. I only have, like, one video that's at, like, 1,300 views, and I'm at, like, 42 subscribers, and so I messaged one OnlyFans creator, and she was like, hey, like, she responded well, whatever. She was like, well, send me a link to your page. And I was like, yeah, sure. Sent her a link to my YouTube page, to my YouTube channel. And then she messaged back. She was like, you have less than 50 subscribers. I'm like, I'm aware.
We all start somewhere. Goddamn,
bitch. I'm not trying.
Goddamn. We could have helped each other out.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that, like, maybe she thought I was trying to expose, OnlyFans, whatever. It's literally, I interview people, which I'm sure you've looked at my page by now, but, like, on my YouTube page, I interview people to whether I want their perspective on their career field, or whether, again, like, I've interviewed YouTube sensations, like, former YouTube sensations, where, maybe they're not as popular as they used to be. And I just want to know, like, where are they now? Like, what are they doing? Are they, I interviewed one guy where he's still making music. He still owns his own music group or whatever, or a music label company, whatever. Just different stuff like that. And I'm a very diverse person when it comes to interviewing people and talking to people. And just in terms of whether it's, like, movie industry, all senses of entertainment I try and do. So, I want to say thank you for even responding to me messaging. So...
Yeah, I mean, this is important to me, and like I said, I was planning on doing this anyway, where I was gonna, start my own YouTube channel, which probably isn't a good idea because I'll just ramble. But
trust me, half my videos is rambling, so trust me, it's okay.
But no, like I really am passionate about what I do, and that's something that I'm having a really hard time conveying to my family and like a lot of these people that are really concerned for me. What I'm having trouble getting across to these people that don't actually know what I do and they won't hear me out is that like this isn't a joke. Mm-hmm. This isn't desperacy. It's not. I actually feel passionate about fantasy creation. Yeah. I think that OnlyFans streamers have a lot to do with the decline in rape culture. I think they have a lot to do with the increase in consent. I think that being able to see these girls like me, where we're open and we're honest, we're not feeding you bullshit. Like, we're telling you what's really going on and like telling you what we like and how we like it and whatever, like how to talk to us, how not to talk to us. Like, it's just, I think it's extremely educational. I think it also helps to like hit those satisfaction points that you can't get from just like a pre-recorded video that's made for the general public. Like, this is customized content. If you want me to say your name, I'm saying your name. Mm-hmm. If you like, if you have this like weird fetish that is tied to some traumatic experience you had in your childhood, and it's between, getting some person on the internet to do it on camera or forcing somebody to do that in real life, I'm happy to be that person on camera. I'm very happy to do so.
And I don't want to take too much more of your time. I know you pretty much have shit to do. But very briefly, can you?
My man left. He went fishing without me, so I got time.
Can you? Because you just brought up a point as well that I honestly didn't know about either. Explaining about like how that's like like what you're doing is a decline in rape culture as well.
I mean, there's like you said, you didn't even know that this thing existed, that this platform existed, that people did things like this. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there are a whole lot of people whose lives have gone really south because they couldn't find what they were looking for. Mm-hmm. And I know that a common theme in a lot, because I'm just like every other white bitch on the planet, I watch a lot of serial killer documentaries. So a lot of the recurring themes in these serial killer documentaries are these guys were abused by women. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't ever form relationships or create or any, they couldn't form bonds with women in person. And so they turned to, before they had Match.com and stuff like that, but still, like, if you're not attractive, if you don't come through, if you don't market yourself well, you're not going to make it on Match.com.
Or Tinder.
Or Tinder or anything like that, like whatever it is. But you're still, so like, you're gonna need more at some point. You're gonna always need more. And I think that if we can sort of direct those kinds of issues towards people who are willing to indulge in them, everybody wins. I feel like I'm helping people when I'm doing things that, even make me a little bit uncomfortable or whatever. I still feel like I'm doing a service because one, I'm getting paid for it. It's my job. I offered it. Mm-hmm. And second of all, where else are they going to find this? You can't hit up your favorite porn star on Pornhub and request a video of them doing something really wild. However,
like shitting on the floor. That's still baffling. That's still crazy to me. I didn't know that was I did not know that was a thing. That
was a one and done thing for me. I'm glad I did it. Won't do it again.
I did not know that was a real thing. It's
a real thing.
I mean, I guess everybody has their fetishes, you know.
Listen, I have stretched my brain in ways I did not even. I've played a giantess. Let me tell you. Okay, so this is off the record. Don't post this because this is outing somebody really personally. But I had to like stand over the camera and be like, "Oh my God, look at you, you tiny little man! I want to squash you under my feet, you tiny little man!" Like giantess role play.
Crazy.
Like where else are you gonna get that?
Crazy. But yeah, again, man, I've learned so much in the 2 hours we've been talking. Like this is,
and I have more to say.
Oh man, this is crazy. Again, I want to have you. Like I really want to have you because I have another podcast with Contemporary Comrades, which we're making our move from SoundCloud to YouTube right now. But we had a huge following on SoundCloud, so hopefully we can transition that to YouTube. We were supposed to get a contract from SoundCloud, never did. But I really want to have you on again so we can have. I mean, there's so many discussions that I feel like you could knock out with us as well. For an episode,
I'm willing to do regular 10-minute segments for you or anything like that. Like if you wanted to incorporate some sort of female advocacy voice into your podcast, I'm your girl. This is what I want to do. This is where I want to go.
Okay. Well, yeah. I'm definitely gonna try and literally no bullshit. I'm gonna try and set up another. I'm gonna talk to my other co-host from on the Comrades and try and set something up to try and at least try and get you on at least another episode or an episode on Comrades so that we can because there's I'm sure they have plenty of questions, especially after watching this interview that will be premiering tonight anyways on YouTube. But again, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. I messaged at least 30 women trying to trying to get an
and
interview.
You're from Stanton. That's so wild.
Yeah.
That is so wild.
Yeah. But again, thank you. We hope to have you back here on a half-ass podcast. My co-host James, he couldn't be here today, but again, thank you, man. I will definitely put your links where anybody can find you in the description. Just shoot those over to me. I have your Twitter, so I just need maybe your whatever.
I'll do all my links one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the Half-Ass Podcast. I am me. This is Chris Rose. The fantasy creator. Learned something new today. I learned a lot of new shit today. So thank you guys for watching. And this is the Half-Ass Podcast. Out.